The one word which is closest to who you really are beyond the body-mind complex is witnessing. Witnessing is the word which describes the real you. Witnessing is the word which describes your real nature, which is pure consciousness, most appropriately. Witnessing describes your real nature, and at the same time, it also shows you the way. The way to your real nature beyond body-mind complex, the way to your divine infinite self is only through witnessing. Witnessing of what? Witnessing of what happens in your body. Witnessing of what happens in your mind. When you start witnessing what happens in your body in the form of pain, sensation, or even the feeling of well-being, you create the gap between the real you and the false illusory you, which you call the personal self, the self comprising of fears and wants. Yes, fears and wants describes the false illusory you. These fears and wants only belong to the egoic self. The real infinite you doesn't have any fears and wants. Tell me, what will the infinite self want? Everything exists in your real self. The whole creation exists in the real infinite you. Nothing exists outside the real you. So what can the infinite want? And who shall the infinite you fear? There is only one infinite self in the whole universe, and that is you. So who shall the infinite you fear? So fears and wants are non-existent in the real you. They only belong to the illusory egoic self. And when you recognize your infinite divine nature, this illusory false self called the ego disappears. And along with it, all the fears, all the wants and cravings. This egoic self exists because you are absent. It exists because you are unaware. It exists because you are ignorant about your real infinite nature. Now, a question must have arisen in your mind as to how one can get rid of this egoic self. Now, this becomes possible only through witnessing. Yes, witnessing is the solution. Just start witnessing what happens in your body. Just start witnessing what happens in your mind, and it will then create the gap between the real you and this body-mind complex. And when this gap is created, you then recognize yourself as you truly are, the infinite blissful consciousness. So witnessing is what you need to know yourself. But witnessing should be non-judgmental. You should not judge anything what comes before you in the physical world and also in the inner world of thoughts and emotions. When anything or anyone appears before you, allow that to be without wanting it to be otherwise, without any sort of resistance. Be like the sky which allows the clouds to be. And your real nature is really like the sky. It's boundless spaciousness in which the whole universe exists, in which the game of life happens. You are the formless consciousness in which the dance of forms happens. Without you, these forms cannot exist. They derive their very existence from you, the pure existence, the absolute existence. But you need to recognize this real nature of yours. And this becomes possible through witnessing of what happens in the body and in the mind. Initially, you will find it really difficult to witness your physical and mental actions, but slowly and gradually, with persistence, with diligent efforts, with your spiritual practices, you will realize the gap between you, the real you, and this body-mind complex. And that's when you will experience yourself as the divine, infinite being pervading the entire cosmos.